ॐ यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तंहदेवम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। निष्कलं निष्क्रियं शान्तं निरवध्यं निरञ्जनम् अमृतस्य परं सेतुं दगधेन्धनमिवानलम्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। आविराविर्मयेधि रुद्रयत्ते दक्षिणं मुखं तेन मां पाहि नित्यम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शक्तिसमुद्रसमुत्थतरङ्गं दर्शितप्रेमविजृम्भितरङ्गं संशयराक्षसनाशमहास्त्रं यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यम्। अद्वयतत्त्वसमाहितचित्तं प्रोज्ज्वलभक्तिपटावृतवृत्तं कर्मकलेवरमद्भुतचेष्टं यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यं। नरदेवदेव जय जय नरदेव। I offer my very respectful salutations to Paramapujya Shivanandaji Maharaj, who did such a great service to Indian culture and philosophy and religion by establishing nearly 85 years ago, this great institution called the Divine Life Society in the remote part of the Himalayas. At that time it was only a jungle. And when I was invited by the organizers, I made it a point to come in spite of so many hurdles, just to pay my respectful homage to this great saint of the modern age, and in his lineage coming people like Dayananda Saraswati and many others. Even now the tradition is continuing. The parampara is the most important in Indian tradition, as you know. Even in Western science, you always ask, who is your research guide? They will not ask you, where did you study? Who is your research guide in research? And music also we ask, who was your teacher? Which gharana you have come? Parampara. So in Indian tradition, parampara is extremely important. Why the guru is important, although some of the ultra-modern people think that guru is not necessary. If God himself directly becomes the guru, like in the case of extraordinary religious people like Ramana Maharshi and others, Arunachala himself was the guru, he says. They are exceptionally different cases. For most of them, the divine power has to flow through a channel which is very pure and extremely elevated. Very often when we say Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah, well-known sloka, it does not mean that the Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu and Guru is Maheshwara. It means the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara's spiritual power flows through the Guru. I always give the example, when I open the tap, whether it is in the kitchen, whether it is in the bathroom, you get water. Water actually doesn't come from the tap, it comes from the tank above, and the tank is filled by the water from the sky. Ultimately, it is the rainwater which is accumulated, flows as the river, this great holy Ganges which is flowing by. It's all water coming from the Himalayas. So ultimately, all water comes from a divine source. But you get it in this tap. So you don't put a mala on this tap and say, and praise this tap, oh tap, you have given me this. Always remember the source from which it comes. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that Satchidananda alone is the Guru. The only Guru is Satchidananda, And Satchidananda assumes human forms in the form of avatars. That's what we believe in the Hindu tradition. We call them avatars or incarnations. Some other traditions call them prophets, son of God. So many names are used. But the divine power flows through the avatars in a human form. Why is it important? Is because we as human beings cannot relate to a person who is not a human. This is a fundamental spiritual and psychological philosophical principle which was enunciated by the great Ramanujacharya, which says that our view of the reality is dependent upon and conditioned by our view about ourselves. If I think I'm a human being, then I cannot think of God except as a human being. This is called anthropomorphization. Anthropomorphic meaning a human being. Swamiji Vivekananda very humorously says, if all the fishes in the world unite and have a world conference and decide on the nature of God, they will think of God as a huge fish. If all the buffaloes unite and think of God, they'll think of God as a huge buffalo. Because I cannot think of God except in my own terms. A human being has to think of the divine in the form of only a human being, although endowed with extraordinary divine power. That's why in the Hindu tradition, the Sanatana Dharma, your self-image is very important. Don't think of yourself as a small, little, tiny being. You are that infinite reality. You are the Satchidananda Swarupa. In the Sannyasa mantras, of course, all over, it's there in the Upanishads anyway. Jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuya sagga swaha. Jyotiraham, I am that infinite divine light. And I am blemishless, I am pure, I am infinite. Constantly, if you think of yourself as pure and holy and divine and charged with divine light, then you will think of everybody else as divine and think of the God Himself as charged with divinity. This is a fundamental principle that Vivekananda pointed out when he went to the West. The idea of the original sin of Christians, he thrashed them in such a way that they got really startled and awakened. Constantly from childhood you are a sinner and therefore you have no hope except through a particular person whom you have to worship. That is the doctrine. Of course, the doctrine was very different, got degenerated later on. Swamiji said, sinners, it is a sin to call a man so. You are children of immortal bliss, Amritasya Putra. So we always call ourselves as coming in the line of the rishis. We call the Gotra, Vishwamitra Gotra, Shandilya Gotra, then Srivatsa Gotra, so many Gotra. Gotra means we think of ourselves the children of that great rishis, Pancha Rishi and Traya Rishi, etc. Which means, if I think of a pedigree, if I know I am coming from that great divine source, there is an extraordinarily beautiful mantra in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which the commentator, Bhashyakara Shankaracharya says, should be used for japa. It's very interesting. Aham vrikshasya reriva kirtif prishtham gireriva urdhva pavitro vajaneva swamritamasmi amritagam savarchasam sumedha amritokshitaha. Trishanku was a great rishi who invented this mantra, who saw this mantra, mantra drashta. These lines, Shankara says in the Bhashya, should be used as japa mantras. Every day repeat them several times. Aham vrikshasya reriva. Reriva, I am the person chedanakarta, I am the person who cuts this samsara vriksha. Ashvattamenam suvirodhamulam asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. The Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, all of us know. This Ashvatha which means that will not last long. Shva in Sanskrit means tomorrow. Shvatha means that which can last tomorrow. Ashvatha means that will not last even tomorrow. It is so impermanent, ephemeral, changing. This samsara vriksha should be cut thoroughly. By what? Asanga shastrena, by weapon of non-attachment, dridhena. Because samsara vriksha is so strong, it has to be cut with a very powerful weapon of non-attachment. Aham vrikshasya reriva. Kirti prishtam gireriva. Think of the glory. Think of my own glory. This is very important for sadhakas. All of us are mumukshus, all of us are sadhakas. We do not study religion and philosophy for theory. We are interested in bhava bandhana chedana. That is our fundamental purpose in Hinduism. Every Hindu will say that my ultimate aim is moksha. I can go through dharma, artha, kama. That may be necessary, abhyudaya. But ultimate aim of human life is to attain that infinite bliss and cut the bondage of samsara. That is the fundamental purpose. Bhava bandhana chedana. That's why Swami Vivekananda, when he wrote that famous Aratrika hymn in honor of his Guru Sri Ramakrishna, Khandana bhava bandhana jagavandana vandito mai. He began with this. Khandana bhava bandhana. Whatever it may be, even sahitya, literature, is also moksha parayana. It can be shown that even the great sahitya written by people like Kalidasa, ultimately the aim is moksha. My kirti, my glory, my spiritual glory, my majesty, kirti prishtam gireriva, like the huge Himalayan mountain. I am not an ordinary person. I have the infinite glory. Kirti prishtam gireriva, urdhva pavitro vajiniva swamrtamasmi. Vajiniva is the Surya, is the sun. Shayana's bhasha is so beautiful there in this context. So I like the sun. Sun is the purest of the pure because it gives light and heat. And sun is considered a great karma yogi in our scriptures. Pasha suryasya sremanam na tandrayate charas charaiveti. The Taittiriya Aranyaka says, look at the glory of the sun. What is the glory? Na tandrayate. It doesn't stop even for a moment to rest. If the sun sleeps off for a few seconds, the world will be destroyed. It doesn't ask for a holiday. There is no casual leave or earned leave. The sun doesn't say, I am very tired, I have been working for too long, let me take off for some time. No. Na tandrayate. That is the characteristics of Bhagavan. Sri Ramakrishna once asked his disciple, Swami Adbhutananda, his name was Latu Maharaj. Latu, does God ever sleep? He was completely confused. If the God slept, the whole world will be blown off to pieces. Yadi aham navarteyam jata karmanyatandritaha mama vartmana vartante manushya partha sarvasha utside yurame loka nakuriyam karma chedaham. The Bhagavan says, if I do not do work without even resting for a moment, then the whole world will go to pieces. Utside yurame loka nakuriyam karma chedaham. Tandra, or sleep, is not the last thing. Atandrita, he puts everybody to sleep so that we can happily rest, and he wakes and looks after everybody like a kind mother or like a bird protecting its chicks. Aham vrikshasya reriva kirti prishtam gireriva urdhva pavitro vajaniva swamrtamasmi ravinagam savarchasam sumedha amritokshataha amrita sinchana. I am full of medha. Medha is also a very important concept in Sanatana Dharma. So many words are used. Dhi and medha are almost synonymous. Dhiyo yo no prachodayat, the Gayatri Mantra talks about. And it's also called pragya in the Yoga Shastras, as you know. Pragya aloka, ritambhara pragya. It's called the Vijnanamaya, in which is full of light. These ideas are given to us so that we can think of ourselves as great light of consciousness. To awaken this light of consciousness which is within, and this light within never goes away. Viparilopo vidyate avinashitvat. The viparilopo vidyate, this light never sets. The sun which arises within, it never sets. Midnight Sun is a poem which one of our old Swamis wrote. Suddenly in the midnight you have bright sun. You can't sleep when the sun is fully blazing. So there is a light of consciousness within all of us, and to awaken this consciousness and to realize your real nature as free, pure, holy, ever awakened, ever pure, ever free. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavaha. The most favorite phrase of Shankaracharya in the Bhashya, Nitya Shuddha, he says Nitya should be added everywhere. Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Mukta. This can be done in several ways. These are things all of you know. I'm just repeating, just to remind ourselves to discuss. One way is Jnana Vichara. You find out, what is my real nature? Am I this body? Am I this flesh? Am I the senses? Ask yourself, what is my real nature? When I say I, what do I really mean? I did this. Interestingly, the I cannot remain alone. We call it standalone. Nowadays we call standalone computers and networked computers. LAN, we call it a local area network. So this I cannot stand alone. Why? The moment it stands alone, it perishes. So I has to hook on to something, hang on to something for its existence. So it has to be related to something. So I always survives as mine. Aham survives as mama. There's everywhere in the scriptures ahankara and mamakara. These are the two great demons or enemies which have to be destroyed. In the Bhagavad Gita, for example, from the beginning to end you will see this, ahankara, mamakara. Second chapter, dharmamo narahankarasya shantimati gacchati. The middle, 12th chapter, adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha dharmamo narahankara sukadukka sukhakshami. Last chapter, I'm just giving some examples. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shanto brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Everywhere you'll say ahankara and mamakara. Ahankara cannot remain without being mama. Mama is shashti sambandha. So jnana vichara, you inquire, what is this I? Somebody praises me, oh, you have beautiful eyes. Ah, yeah, I know. Your hair is so beautiful. Nowadays, everything is beauty, external beauty. So I feel very pleased because I identify myself with the hair, with my eyes, with my face, with my body. But a slightly subtler, oh, Swami, you spoke very well, isn't it so? I identify myself with the mind. I write a small book. Now it's very easy to write books nowadays. You go to Google, copy paste. Intelligently you should do it, of course. Nowadays it's a serious problem in universities. Do you know this? Plagiarism. Now they use the anti-plagiarism software to find out how much has been copied from where. And we have old magazines. For example, you also have old magazines written by some of the great saints like Swami Shivananda and others. You go to 50 years, 60 years later, here and there you cut and paste, jumble the sentences, you can have a beautiful book. Somebody says, Swami, your book is very good. Ah, yeah. I didn't like your book. What? You didn't like it? Go. I will not talk to you. I get angry. The I is identifying with my intellect. The I is identifying with the senses, identifying with the body, identifying with the mind, identifying with the intellect. And constantly series of identifications, which you know in Vedanta is abhinivesha. Abhinivesha, identifications. I, unable to stand alone, constantly identifies with each of these as mine and survives. So if you inquire what is this I, you find I is a myth. This is what Buddha discovered. Buddha asked a simple question, why is there so much misery in this universe? There is a misery is because of tanha or desire. Where does tanha rest? In here, in the I. Then he inquired the nature of the I and is astonished to see the I doesn't exist at all. I is a myth. He called anatta. What he meant atta is the ego or the I. So inquire into the nature of the I, you realize the I actually is not a small little entity attached to all this. If you completely decouple this I from any of these shackles, the body, the mind, annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya, you realize the real nature of the I is actually the infinite Satchidananda Swarupa. Shankara in one place, in the Brahma Sutra, the Bhashya very beautifully says, in a sense, everybody is an Atmagya. Everybody is an Atmagya. How? Because everybody says I. The moment you say I, you have the knowledge of Atma, I, but you do not know the real nature of I, therefore inquiry is necessary. This is the beauty of Vedanta. Vedanta is not theology, is not philosophy, is not metaphysics, is not religion, it is an inquiry. Athato Brahma Jigyasa, it is Jigyasa. In the case of yoga, yoga is Anushasanam. Atha yoga anushasanam. Anushasanam is the discipline. Technology. Jigyasa is Vedanta, which is science. So science of Brahman, which is Vedanta, and the technology of Brahman, which is yoga, always will go together. And Upanishads usually talk about Brahma Vidya, and the technology is taught by Patanjali and others in the Yoga Sutras. There is one remarkable book which you know, which is the textbook for Sanatana Dharma, they call the Bhagavad Gita, which is both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. The colophon at the end says, Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Tritiyodhyaya Karma Yogo Nama Tritiyodhyaya and so on. It is Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. And it is the dialogue between man and God. In the Upanishad, there is one Upanishad which states this very clearly, the Kathopanishad. Last verse of the Kathopanishad, Mrityu proktam nachiketo dalabdha vidyametam yoga vidhim cha krishnam vidyametam yoga vidhim cha krishnam. Complete yoga vidhi, krishnam, Brahma Vidya. Both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra are required. So inquire into the nature of the I through Jigyasa, then suddenly you realize that this I, which you thought to be a little entity, which is constantly identifying with Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, etc., is liberated from this identification and realizes itself as the infinite self. I am that Satchidananda Swarupa, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. This is one method. But many people think it's a difficult method. But in Shankara and others says it is so simple, it's the simplest because you always like to study a subject which you like. Sometimes the students keep on studying subjects in which they are very strong. They don't want to study the subject which you don't like. What is the dearest subject in our life? What is the dearest? There is a survey made by American Psychological Association. What is the most frequently used word in the English language? I. Everywhere, everybody uses this I every day, hundreds of times. So the most favorite and the dearest subject for everybody is the I. So the Upanishad says, the priyatva, the dearness comes from the I. And because of the dearness of the I, everybody becomes dear. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Nava are patyuk kamaya patipriyo bhavatyat manastu kamaya patipriyo bhavati nava are jayaya kamaya jaya priya bhavatyat manastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati nava are sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati atma va are drashtavyo sotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyaha. The most famous passage, Yajnavalkya Maitreya Samvada, all of us know this. Because of the dearness of the self, everything becomes dear. Now, the self is dear. You want to think, we always want to think about something which is very dear to us. You know, when you see people who constantly use nowadays this, the latest Rakshasa, the Asura is the android. The android Asura, not Mahishasura, everywhere, you go anywhere, so many airports and so many places, nobody talks to anybody. Then I thought, why Christ said, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Nowadays, touch and it will be opened unto you. Touch is a very important concept. In the Bhagavad Gita, samsparsha, the word is used many times. Swami Tapasyanji, who was my intellectual mentor in Chennai, he used to say there are two kinds of samsparsha in the Gita. One is Vishaya samsparsha, other is Brahma samsparsha. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo nayayevate adyantavantak kunday anateshu ramate buddha. Well-known shloka. Samsparshaja bhoga, this bhoga, enjoyment coming out of touch, is a source of sorrow. What should you do? Brahma samsparsham matyantam sukhamashnute. Instead of Vishaya samsparsha, Brahma samsparsha. As if Brahman is coming and touching you. So such a beautiful phrase we used in the Gita. Brahman is coming and touching you. So the Guru always blesses the disciple by touching him. You touch the head, you touch the heart. The touch is so vital to awaken the spiritual consciousness. So the idea of the priyatva, everybody is now, what do? Now you have, in the Android you have everything, all the apps possible in the world are there. You can not only talk to anybody, now you have WhatsApp. You keep on talking to anybody, you can have a video, you can connect to anybody at any time, free of cost. Look at the marvels of technology. If only we can put it to good use. These are nothing not to be condemned. These are vibhutis of God. God's vibhuti, Mahamaya has a peculiar way of confusing us. The olden days she used to do in the old technology. No, Mahamaya is not developing new technologies. So that man will be confused. People don't have time for a prayer, meditation, study, constantly. Studying books is totally gone. See, anything which is dear, what do people do? You can see boys and girls constantly. Anything which is dear to you, you think about it, you constantly talk about it, you discuss it, because you feel great joy. So if the I is the dearest to you, the Atman, think about it, constantly meditate upon this, in so many ways. This is called in Panchadashi as the Brahmabhyasa. There's a beautiful verse in the Panchadashi. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam tat prabodhanam, etadeka paratvancha brahmabhyasam vidurabudhaha. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, constantly think about it, meditate upon this, talk to one another about the divine things. Eka paratvancha, be focused on this, it's called brahmabhyasa. This is the abhyasa which is given in the jnana path. Now, there is another way in which you can do this. The other is, that is, the I, which is an abstract entity which you do not really know. What is the source of this I? Where does I come from? I comes from a divine source which you call God or Ishvara. The eye of the eye, God has put this eye within you so that the world can go on. Why everybody is attached to the eye is the Mahamaya's play. The Divine Lord says everybody has his eye and the mind, and therefore the world goes on. Some of you understand Tamil? There is a beautiful verse in Manivashaka, in the Tiruvashakam. வானாகி மண்ணாகி வழியாகி ஒளியாகி ஊனாகி உயிராகி உண்மையுமாய் இன்மையுமாய் கோனாகி யான் எனது என்று அவரவரை கூத்தாட்டுவானாகி நின்றாயை என்று சொல்லி வாழ்த்துவனே. He says, "Oh Lord, how can I praise you? யான் எனது என்று அவரவரை கூத்தாட்டுவானாகி நின்றாயை." You are simply making everybody dance and run around through I and mine. Everybody say I and mine. Everybody is jumping around. So the eye has a source. If you trace the source, Ramana Maharshi, this technique he used, the source is actually the Atman, which is identical with Ishvara. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. Ishvara, Guru and the Atman and grace, Kripa, these are identical. So Ishvara is the source of this eye. It's easy to love God rather than love an abstract entity called the Atman, which you do not really know, although we have studied from the scriptures. To be able to be completely devoted to the Atman, Atmanishtha and Brahmanishtha, requires a very pure, desireless mind. The mind has to be absolutely pure. And the mind which is attached to desires is an impure mind. And although Brahman, God, cannot be realized through the mind, it can be realized through a pure mind. This is one paradox in the Upanishads. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasasaha. The mind cannot know it. The speech cannot reach it. But the same Upanishad says, Yato Upanishad, Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad, Manase vedamaptavyam nehana nasti kinchana manase vanudrashtavyam. This can be understood only by the mind. Just now you said it cannot be understood by the mind. Then they will say, no, there are two kinds of minds. One is a pure mind, other is the impure mind. It cannot be known by the impure mind, it can be known by the pure mind. Shruti Pramana, Brahma Bindu Upanishad. Manohid vividham proktam, ashuddham shuddham evacha, ashuddham kama sankalpam, shuddham tu kama varjitam. Two kinds of minds. One is a pure mind, which is kama sankalpa, full of desire. Kama varjitam, that which is without desire, that mind is called Shuddha. And this is Shuddha Mana, Gochara. Shankara also says in one of the chapters in the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, he says, it is not that it cannot be known at all. The ultimate Atman can be known by a mind which has been purified by the teaching of the Shastra and the Guru. Kathopanishad also says, Drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. By a mind which is extremely purified and concentrated upon the Atman. Now, it's an easy method. Nothing is easy, but still we think it is easy. You can love. Love is a natural tendency for everybody. We love our wife and children and money and credit card. Now we have international credit cards. Not see how integration is coming in. I'm thinking, even in worldly things, people used to carry 5 or 6 credit cards. I asked, why so many? This is for United Bank, this is for the State Bank, this is for the IDBI. That was only one credit card, integrated. International credit card, go for any ATM, any bank. You swipe it and you get it. We are attached to all this. Now, can you bring the mind to the source of the eye and then love that source from which everything arises? Because ultimately you have to go to the source from which the speech arises, from which the mind arises, from which the thoughts arise. And that source is your beloved, and you call it God, you call it the Atman, you call it Guru, whoever. So you say that this Ishvara has the most beloved of all. How do you realize the infinite God? You can't realize Him as long as you remain as the I. Little puny I constantly comes and intervenes. God wants to reveal Himself. No, I have no time. Wait for some time. Let me find out what's happening in my WhatsApp. God is very clever. He'll come as the WhatsApp and catch you. He is manifesting everywhere as the infinite I. Now, as long as the I remains, God cannot remain. And therefore, the I has to be reduced to such an extent it simply vanishes. So one method is the I becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and becomes vast and infinite. You realize the infinite nature of the I, and therefore the little I vanishes. The other is reduced I in such an extent that the I vanishes. Reduction of the I to a point of non-existence in vanishing is called the bhakti path, in which you surrender the I to God. The path of jnana, I becomes so large that anything which is finite vanishes. Yad bhuma vai tat sukham na alpe sukham asti, Chandogya Upanishad. So one is called the path of bhakti, or called the path of jnana, in which I becomes shunya or the I becomes purna. The shunya path as propagated by the Buddha, and the purna by the Upanishads and Shankara and others. And shunya and purna are the one and the same thing, it can be proved. What is called purna is also the shunya. So the whole of gamut of Indian spirituality, in a small formula, you begin with koham, who am I? On the one path of bhakti, you say naham, I am nobody, you are everything. In the path of jnana, he says soham, I am that infinite. Start with koham, one path is naham, the other path is soham. The whole gamut is contained there. Now, how do you love God? To be able to love somebody in even ordinary life. You love somebody by having his picture, his or her picture, video nowadays, and constantly remembering his or her name. Name and form are two things which draw you very close to somebody to be able to love. How can you love with that which is formless, that which is nameless? You can't. The Akasha. Can you love the Akasha? So what do? You have a picture, you have a form, and it has a name. Now the form is also not always easy to visualize. There are two types of mind, psychologists say. One is form-oriented, other is the name-oriented. The form-oriented mind can visualize forms very easily. They call it photographic memory and so on. So people can just visualize. Some people can't visualize, but they can remember names. So one simple method was given by our great acharyas and incarnations. You do not know who is God, what is God. If you call somebody by name, he responds. Somebody's name is Rama, Shama. Hey Rama, yes, did you call me, sir? So what is the name of God? Upanishads say the name of Brahman. You know what is the name of Brahman? Om. The Upanishads say Om is the name of Brahman and Aham is the name of the Atman. And therefore Aham and Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi comes from there. When somebody calls you, who is it? I. It's me. You knock on the door, it's me. You will not say the name. So me, I is the name of the Atman. So you can put Om in there in the Android. When you put Om, immediately Brahman responds, did you call me? You can send a message to Om. But it's an abstract thing. But the Om also has two aspects. One is the Saguna aspect, other is the Nirguna aspect. That infinite Satchidananda, which is also called Om, and this Apara Brahman, which is called Hiranyagarbha or Ishvara, also can be called by Om. This is the beauty of Om. Om can be used by Jnanis as well as Bhaktas. You know the famous verse in the Kathopanishad. Sarve Veda Yat Padamamananti Tapamsi Sarvana Chayat Vadanti Yatichando Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Bravimi Om Ityetat Etadhyevaksharam Brahma Etadhyevaksharam Param Etadhyevaksharam Gyatva Yo Yadichyati Tasya Tat Etadalam Panam Sreshtham Etadalam Panam Param Etadalam Panam Gyatva Brahmaloke Mahiyate. Apara and Para, both of them have the same name Om. This is a common. Om is like the master card. You can use it for any deity. If you don't know the name, the Bija mantra for a particular devata, put Om, doesn't matter. And Bhagavad Gita says, you can also add Tat and Sat along with that. Om Tat Desho Brahmanas Trividhas Prataha. Now, it is very easy to call upon God or Brahman or Atman in its aspect with form by using a name attached to this. Which name will you choose? You can simply choose Om, but we want so many different names. So many people are here. Each person has a different name. Even Anandas, all of us have different names, and which people can't easily pronounce. So they say, Swami, you can't pronounce your name. What peculiar name you have? Then I told them, I also cannot pronounce your names. So everybody has a name which gives you an identity and a distinction. So the infinite Lord, in its great mercy, said, which name do you want? I don't know. The Shiva's name I don't like. I want, all right, I'll give this name. And interestingly, even other religions, Allah has 99 names, they say, the Quran. So we have, interestingly, we are very broad. Put zeros, lot of zeros, 1,000, 1,000, 10,000, lakh, Sahasranama. And each deity has one Sahasranama. Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, Hanuman Sahasranama. And put all the deities together in Sahasranama, they'll come to several thousands, several lakhs. Why it is given is because somebody may like a particular name, somebody may not like some other name. It's a kind of a taste. It is just like you go to a restaurant. Varieties of food are given to you. Somebody likes something which is sweet, somebody likes which is hot, somebody likes which is cold. You pick and choose anything. Somehow or other be connected to God. God is an infinite mercy, has provided so many different names. By thinking and chanting any of them, you'll be able to connect to God. The whole idea how to connect to God. I don't know who is God, where is he sitting? So many different conceptions of God, but I want to connect him quickly. So you are given a small Android phone, which is called the mind, purified mind. Keep it charged all the time. Now people are so much worried about charging a phone. Keep it charged all the time by satsanga. What charges? We are all sitting and discussing. This charges you. Satsanga charges you. Your mind becomes charged. Use any name to connect to him. And so many hundreds of thousands of names are given. And in each of the names, the Lord's power is present. And there is a very interesting principle. Nama and Nami, they are identical. Nama, Nami, Abhed. Nami is a person who has a name. Nama is the name. A person is called by a name, and the person himself having a form, these two are identical. So name itself is Ishvara. This is a very important theory in Bhakti Shastra and the Tantra Shastra, the Mantra Shastra. You don't have to worry about where God is, what he is doing. The name itself is the veritable God. Swami Adbhutananda once taught his disciples, before you begin japa, bow down before the name. Not before God, but the name. Because this is the name which is connecting you to God. So he needs connectivity, that's the problem. Hey, Wi-Fi connectivity everywhere, wherever you go. First, is there Wi-Fi connectivity here? So there is Wi-Fi connectivity. What is the connectivity that we need? We need 24/7 connectivity. Constant connectivity should be there. And what is the bandwidth? Infinite. Now we have 3G, 4G and so on, 5G etc. are coming. Infinite 24/7 broadband connectivity. What is that called? Yukta. Yuj. Yukta means connection. The Bhagavad Gita uses this word so often. Yukta, Nitya Yukta, Satata Yukta, Yukta Tama. You can see the Bhagavad Gita, so many words are used, constant Yukta. So the whole idea is how we can somehow or other be connected to God. How we can be connected. Even for a moment if you disconnect, immediately you feel uneasy. Is it possible? The whole secret of the divine name is you are so deeply immersed in the chanting of the name that even for a moment of disconnectivity makes you miserable. This is the definition given by Narada. All of you know from the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Narada asked, what is the definition of bhakti? So many definitions are given. Shandilya said this, somebody else said this. Narada says, Tadarpita akhila acharata tad vismarane paramavyakulata iti. You may be remembering the sutra, the Narada Bhakti Sutra. What did Narada say? Tad arpita akhila acharata. It does not say achara, acharata. That means the capacity or the tendency or the proclivity or the inclination to be able to do anything, thinking, writing, eating, drinking, moving around, everything that you think or do or accomplish, acharata, tad arpita, constantly given to him. The famous shloka, Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yad juhoshi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva, madarpanam. Constantly direct all this towards God. That's why in India, any of the Hindu household or mothers know it very well, when they cook, they will always cook for God. They will never enter the kitchen without taking bath in the pure clothes, because they are cooking for God. It is Annapurna's temple. You cook for God, first offer it to God, whatever you eat. First offer it to God and then eat yourself. Some people think, whatever we eat, can God eat also? Why not? There's a big controversy. Once in Kanchipuram, in Tamil Nadu, there was a temple of Sri Ramakrishna consecrated. Some senior pujaris from Belur Math, they were from Bengal. But this Kanchipuram devotees offered idli to Ramakrishna. Then they said, hey, you are offering idli? Ramakrishna never took idli. Ramakrishna may not take idli, but we are offering idli because we will offer it to him. In the West, they offer cakes. Ramakrishna wants to take cakes. Then he told the Swami, why are you worried? The poor man did not know what was idli when he was alive. Now he wants to taste different kinds of food. Allow him. That means whatever we eat, whatever we do, offer it first to God and come to God's touch, divine touch should be there. I'll tell you an interesting incident which happened in my life. I was going to Sydney in Australia. There was an old Swami there who is in charge. I wanted to take some prasad from Belur Math. I took some sandesh, some sweets, offered to Sri Ramakrishna in Belur Math. In Australia, you cannot carry any edibles. It is banned. I did not know. I took it in the disembarkation card. You have to declare. Are you carrying any edibles? I said no. I actually forgot Then they were scanning the bag. What is this, Swami? Is it to be eaten? I said, yes. You know what you have declared? Yes. Do you know what is the punishment for this? You'll be immediately arrested. Because false declaration. Then suddenly it struck me. You see, this comes from God. From God? What does it mean? We offer it to God, He gives it back to us. Oh, coming from God, all right, take it. You see, the divine touch of God is there. In fact, it has been seen, verified by some of the great saints. Holy Mother Sharada Devi, she said, when you offer something to God, a light comes from his eyes and then touches all the Naivedya so that it becomes pure. It's called Drishti Bhoga. The Devatas don't eat like us. Just sight they purify the whole thing. Jagannath Mahaprabhu's temple, etc. They keep on. It should be kept before God. God sees and becomes purified. So whatever you do, whatever you think, offer it to God. Why should you do it? Because there is no other choice. See, whatever you think, God, the Antaryami, is sitting there. There is a problem in Hinduism. If God is sitting somewhere there, you can manage privately, do something else. But in Hinduism, you cannot manage. He is sitting right here, and what are you thinking? What are you doing? In some households, some of the household you people know, there's a small house you have built. There is no separate shrine room, is not possible. They don't have the facility. They put some pictures or some images in an almirah and put one curtain there. And then they worship, etc. Now, they are watching the television, watching some movie. Hey, put the curtain there. God is seeing. But the problem is God is seeing from here. The Antaryami. So the Antaryami, anyway he is seeing. Whatever you think, whatever you do, everything he is seeing. So why not openly say, you see all this, you then purify this. So you are, on whatever you do, you purify it through him. So you offer it to God constantly, be connected to him somehow. Forgetfulness of God, tad vismarane paramavyakulata. This is bhakti. Even for a moment you forget him, even for a moment you are disconnected from him, you have tremendous vyakulata. You can see nowadays, I travel everywhere, even for a moment if there is no connectivity, there's no connectivity. Paramavyakulata, so much of vyakulata. Then I remembered Narada, see how correct he was. Can you feel in the same way? I am not connected to God now. I feel so miserable. Acutely when it comes to this, it's called Viraha Vedana. Extreme, like Radhika, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yugayatam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishayatam shunyayatam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. He says, just one moment I am separate from you, I am disconnected from you. One moment appears to be several ages. And tears flow down from my eyes. Shunyayatam jagatsaram, the whole world becomes meaningless to me if I am disconnected from you for even once, even for a second. These are the great lines which these great saints have composed, expressing their feelings. Now you are connected to him through what? Through a name. The modern example you can immediately see. You are connected to the internet, otherwise you can't do anything now. How do you enter the internet? Through a password. Our students always ask, why are you in India, you keep everything secret? Why should the mantra keep it secret? Then I said, no, what you say is correct. Nothing should be kept secret. No, I don't believe in secrecy. I called him. Hey, do you have an email account? Yes. Tell me your password. No, I can't tell my password. The password is a private thing for me. The password is the mantra. The mantra is a private thing for me through which I connect to the internet. I connect to the infinite. Now the present Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara is the Google. If Google is conscious, it will call Hiranyagarbha or Saguna Brahman or Ishvara. It is the mind of infinite wisdom. Somebody very funnily wrote, now the Google Devata, at a click of a second it gives you everything. You want to know something, you click that, 1,22,000 entries, 0.001 second. That's the magic, that's the power of Google. So somebody said, oh, Google Devata, you are such an extraordinary genius. So he wrote one Arati. Jaya Jaya Google Hare, Jaya Jaya. So in the modern technology will tell you how you want to be constantly connected. You are connected through a password called the mantra. That mantra, of course you can change the password, but you can't change the mantra. That's also possible. If the Guru wants, he can give you a new mantra also. In America, the Westerners are so restless. They can't hold on to something. There was one very senior Swami who passed away, very witty person, Swami Swahananda in Hollywood. He once said, Arey, in the West it is impossible, you don't know these fellows. One of his disciples took a mantra. He called Swami, I have been chanting the same mantra for 3 years. Nothing is happening. Would you like to change it? Because the doctor gives you a prescription. 3 days you take this medicine, otherwise. Then I said, no, how can you change it? See, I have been chanting this for 44 years. It's not easy. Wow! 44 years, I will find some other guru. So a lot of patience is required. That is why in the Bhakti Shastra I said, day after day go on. You may not feel happy, sometimes you feel miserable, sometimes you don't feel the ruchi, the taste for the name. Sometimes you feel sleepy. Most of us feel sleepy, of course. The moment you begin to japa, sleep comes to you. That's Mahamaya's Leela. This one lady was suffering from insomnia. She is not able to sleep. Then she consulted so many doctors, allopathic, Ayurvedic, yoga, so many things, nothing happened. Then she was so depressed, unhappy, she is feeling terrible pain in the head, she is not able to sleep, she is feeling uneasy. Then one of his friends, her friends said, Hare, I also suffer from this. Simple medicine, I solved the problem easily. What happened? I took mantra diksha from the Guru. The moment I start mantra diksha, I got good sleep. Even that is good because you relax. Why it happens is because the mind gets relaxed. If the mind is not sufficiently pure, it goes to tamas. First, the mind is relaxed. That's why if you cultivate more and more sattva, the mind is relaxed, it goes to sattva. Otherwise, it goes to tamas. But even that is good enough. You sleep in presence of God rather than doing something else. So you connect yourself to God, yukta, through His divine name. How many names are there? Innumerable names. Who created them? God Himself created. Out of His infinite mercy, He created so many names, and each of the names is a potent means to connect to God. Not that this name is superior, that name is inferior, and so on. Many people ask, can we translate this name into English or Spanish or French and chant it? Should it be only in Sanskrit? I don't know what God will say. Because God Himself is, what will Spanish people do? What will Christians do? Do they know Sanskrit? There is a mantra which is given in the Christian book. Many of you must have read this, Way of the Pilgrim. There is a famous book, Prayer of the Heart. Lord Jesus, have mercy upon me. That mantra he went on chanting. Maybe in Latin, maybe in some other language. Now there's a big movement in Tamil Nadu. Why should you have anything in Sanskrit? We should have mantras in the temples in Tamil. So God doesn't mind. So you can chant Him in any way. Or even if you make a mistake, he knows. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. The child is trying to call the father or the mother. It cannot pronounce properly. The ma, baba, ba. Does not the father know that he is being called? So what is most important is antarikata, sincerity. Are you sincere? Do you want him? So the whole thing reduces to sincerity, lack of hypocrisy. Don't show off. I can show myself to all of you and then show I am a great saint. But you can't cheat God. He is there waiting always. When I saw the Swargashram here, I was remembering an interesting incident which happened in the life of Swami Premeshanandaji, who was a great saintly soul in the order, in our Ramakrishna order. He was a disciple of disciple of Sri Sharada Devi. He was doing tapasya in Swargashram with some other Swamis. At those days, maybe about 8 years ago, it was full of, it's a jungle. They used to go for bhiksha. One Mahatma Ji, he also used to accompany them for bhiksha. But several days he could not come. So he thought maybe he is not well. So let me go and see him. But that Mahatma Ji is simply lying down and then chit-chatting with his devotees. When he saw somebody is coming, he said, "Hey, meditate." Then Premeshanji went to him, "Mahatma Ji, why are you doing it before us? We are also in the same business." So God cannot be hoodwinked so easily. So be sincere to him. If you feel sleepy, so, "Oh God, I feel so sleepy, what should I do?" You feel sleep first and then chant the name of God. He is so compassionate. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in a famous verse, Mahaprabhu was a great Sanskrit scholar. He wrote a book on Nyaya, and his guru also had a book on Nyaya. His guru was so pleased, he saw that book. "Oh, what a fantastic book you have written." Then with a sigh he said, "Hereafter nobody will read my book." Immediately threw it in the Ganges. I don't want to offend my guru. Such a great scholar, only one poem he wrote called Shikshashtakam. There he says, "Nam namakari bahudharja sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kalaha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrishi mihajani nanuragaha." O Lord, you have created so many names, innumerable names you have created. Namna, Makari, Bahuda. Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Arpita. You have poured your power, divine power into each of these names. Niyamita Smaranayana Kala. To chant this name, there is no specific time, there is no specific place. Anywhere you can do, anytime you can chant this name. Such is your great mercy, your great compassion. But such is my misfortune that I do not have love for your name. See, look at the pathos. To have love for God's name is the greatest blessing that can come to us. Don't argue whether this will happen, that your stupid intellect always intervenes. How much the mind can understand? So believe in the words of great men. These are divine names revealed. There are mantras. Mantra drashtas are given it to us, come in the sampradaya and the parampara. So each one of these names, for example, the names which is chanted here, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, these are all mantras which are openly given to everybody. So there is a theory that mantra need not always be secret. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this mantra, openly chanted by everybody. The Bhagavad Gita, every shloka is a mantra. God is calling. If you think it, you will not be irritated. But let you tell God to call after some time, not immediately. Bhagavad Gita is a mantra, Upanishads are mantras. So these mantras, what they do is, when you constantly repeat them and think of them, they enter into the unconscious and then purify you. Apart from the bhakti aspect of it, they are necessary to purify you. This is a mantra shastra. There is a concept called Chitta Shuddhi in Vedanta. Chitta is the mind, Shuddhi is the purification. The mind and the heart have to be purified. Where is impurity hiding in the mind? All of us have become sannyasis, or if you are sadhakas. We are trying as much as possible, struggling to remain pure, to chant the name of God. In the unconscious mind, somewhere these things come up. So these various things which we do, they go deep into the unconscious without our knowing about it. Sometimes they manifest in dreams. Sometimes we do not also know. So unless the unconscious is purified, your purification is not complete. But you have access to the unconscious. How do you know the unconscious? In the conscious mind, unconscious is simply closed. It is said, the Mantra Shastra, the mantra is like a missile. They call it Scud missile. They used it to kill Saddam Hussein. Then only I learnt about this. Scud missile is a missile which enters deep into this and then targets and kills. So the mantra is like a missile which enters deep into the unconscious and then tackles the impure samskaras and destroys them. The mantra is the only connection between the conscious and the unconscious. Those of you who have repeated the mantra very sincerely, you will know, suddenly from somewhere the mantras will come. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, etc. constantly, you are simply sitting. You are not even worried about anything. Suddenly one mantra will come and hijack you. This mantra will constantly attack you. That's why the simplest practice, constantly keep repeating and chanting these mantras and names and Upanishad, Gita, Devi Mahad, whatever it may be. This chanting is most important. Chanting the divine name, chanting the glory, chanting the holy books. In the southern part of India particularly, it is very, very common. They don't meditate much. The idea of meditation, dhyana, comes from Patanjali and the different sampradaya. In the southern sampradaya, dhyana is very rarely used. In the Christian order also, there is no concept of dhyana, prayer. They love prarthana and chanting, go on chanting. I have seen people, old people in the temples, they will start chanting from 4 o'clock in the morning, going on chanting the whole day. The Brahmins, they chant the Vedas the whole day. What happens is, your whole body and mind becomes mantramaya. Your sharira, your manas, everything becomes mantramayam shariram. Your sharira becomes mantramaya, your mind becomes mantramaya. So you lose the idea that you are a physical entity. You are a mantramaya sharira, and the unconscious mind is unconsciously purified. That is the beauty of the divine name. With some faith in the Guru, with some faith in God, you go on repeating this mantra. It need not be even japa which the Guru has given to you. It can be in the form of stotras. Stotras is also extremely important. When I talk about the glory of the divine name, it is not only the name, the mantra which is given to you, the stotra which just now I chanted. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreyakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadho jivanam anandambudivarjanam pratipadam purnamrita smadanam sarvatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikshashtaka, first line. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Sankirtanam is also a Namajapa. It's also a chanting of the name of God, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. What does it do? Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Darpana is the mirror of the heart, mirror of the mind is completely cleansed. Marjanam. And then he says, Sarva Atma Snapanam. Snapana means bathing. My whole Atman, Atman means the mind, Atman means the body. My antakarana, everything is constantly being bathed, as it were, the cool waters. Every moment you are being bathed. As if Amrita Sinchana, Abhisheka is being done upon you. Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam. We are in the midst of so much of terrible fire of Agni. What is the Agni? Worldliness, samsara. Bhava davagni. In the midst of that we are burning. Suddenly somebody pours cool nectar upon you, you feel so much purified. So the glory of this divine name is constantly being given to everybody. So this mantra, for example, the whole sloka, when I memorize so many things because, see, meditation is not so easy. The moment you sit, you feel sleepy, concentration doesn't come to you. But chant. Chanting is not so difficult. Some people chant by putting the the earplug in their ear. That's also good in a sense. But the difficulty is, unless you yourself repeat, that doesn't go deep into you. When Swami Bhuteshanandaji, one of our illustrious gurus in the order, somebody asked him, Maharaj, suppose I put the mantra on the computer and then constantly ask it to repeat, will I get mukti? Then he said, computer may get mukti, but you cannot do it. But even that is good. Now many people practice it that way. You keep on chanting. Shankaracharya stotras. Oh, such remarkable stotras. Such great Acharya. But realize the pinnacle of Advaita Vedanta. Why did he write all this? Only for our sake. Gatistvam tvameka bhavani. Devi aparadakshama. Matsama pataki nasti papagni tvatsamanahi evam gyatva mahadevi yatha yogyam tatha kuru. Is it a papi? For our sake, identifying himself with all of us, what a wonderful, how many wonderful stotras his mother, he says very touchingly, Apatsu magna smaranam tadiyam karomi durge karunarnaveshi naita chatatvam mama bhavayetha kshudha trisharta jananim smaranti. Mother, don't think I'm a hypocrite. Oh, you come to me when you are in trouble. At other times, why didn't you come to me? Normally we ask people. After long years, somebody comes. Oh, now you have come because you need something from me. Mother, don't say that. When a child is hungry or thirsty, then alone he goes to the mother. How many stotras about all gods and goddesses, whether it is Subramanya, whether it is Shiva, Shiva Aparadakshama Stotram. Oh, what a wonderful life is passing out. That day which has gone will not come back again. And you think about wealth, you think about money, you think about position, all of them will simply pass away. Ayuranashyati pashyatam pratidinam yatikshayam yauvanam pratyayanti gata punarnadivasa kalo jagadbhakshakaha lakshmi stoyataranga bhanga chapala vidyuchalam jivitam tasman mam sharanagatam sharanadatam raksha adhuna, immediately save me. Vidyuchalam jivitam, everything is passing out. Kalo jagadbhakshakaha. This kala, time nobody can stop. You may be a great saint, but even then your body will decay and go away. Kalo jagadbhakshakaha. This idea of time is so vital. We should always meditate upon death. Swami Vivekananda said, think of death. Why? Time is running out. I have no time now. That's why in the Hitopadesha it is said, Grihita eva kesheshu vrityuna dharma macharet. Practice dharma, practice meditation, practice chanting of God as if death is holding you by the hair. Because any time, any moment death can come to you, so don't waste time. I have no time to waste. Kalo jagadbhakshakaha. There is a sloka in Mahabharata, Yaksha Prashna. You know the Yaksha Prashna, so many Prashnas he asked. Kavarta, there is a Prashna. What is the news? We ask, Khobor Akhon. Nowadays say, Aaj Tak. What is the news now? Breaking news. What is the breaking news? The breaking news is, we have got a new cook. Yudhishthira says, we have got a new cook. As soon as he came, wanted to purchase a huge kind of vessel. In that he is cooking everything. Asmin maha mohamaye katahe. Mohamaya, this is called Maha Moha. Then Suryagnina Ratri Divendhanena. Surya and Agni, Ratri and Diva, that is the fuel. Masartva Darbi Parighattanena. Masa and Rutu are the huge spoons which is using. Ghatta. Ghattana means shaking constantly, stirring. Bhutani Kalav Pachati iti Varta. All the bhutas, all of us, are constantly put in that. He is roasting us and then eating. That is the latest news. He is called Mahamohamaye Katahe. What is his name of that cook? It's called Mahakala. So, Mrityunjaya Stotra, Markandeya Stotra. Chandrasekhara, Chandrasekhara, Chandrasekhara Pahimam. Chandrasekhara, Chandrasekhara, Chandrasekhara Rakshamam. I am a devotee of Shiva. I have taken refuge in Shiva. Kinkara, Kinkaroti Vaiyamaha. What can Yama do to me? So these are stotras. So go on chanting the stotras, or do it even if you read it even in your own language, whatever be the language. And every language has such a rich spiritual literature in India. So these are the glory of the divine name. But what is most important? You should feel drawn to it. If it is distasteful, aruchi, then you cannot proceed. When does aruchi come to you? Distaste come to you? When you are highly feverish. When you have high fever, whatever, even the tasteful food also appears to be distasteful. So what is this fever? This is a peculiar kind of disease which is congenital. From childhood it has come to us. And this disease is called Bhavaroga. So Bhavaroga Vaidya is the Supreme Lord, and the one simple medicine which he gives is chant his name every day, and then you will see after that the Bhavaroga goes away. So the only medicine for the disease of Bhavaroga is the chanting of the Lord's name. If you do this, Sri Ramakrishna says, it's just a link, it's a chain. Suppose the chain is tied to something, you can't immediately catch that vessel. So we take one link, one by one you go, and then finally you get this. So the one way by which you can directly connect to God is through the name which is given to you by a person who has come in that tradition. Some people ask, can I take some name and chant? That's also good enough, but the sampradaya gives you the power. Many people ask, I talked from that guru, is he really soul? Has he seen God? That question doesn't arise because the sampradaya in which it comes, this sampradaya comes from God himself. The most important Satchidananda is the guru. And the original guru whom we have, we call them Dakshinamurti. You can call Brahma, Devanam, Prathamasam, Babhuva, etc. in the Mundaka Upanishad. So the Adi Guru is Parameshwara, Adi Guru is Dakshinamurti, Adi Guru is God himself. And whatever be the sampradaya in which you come, stick to that sampradaya. Asampradaya with Sarvashastra Vidapi, Murkhavadev Upekshaniyaha, Shankara says in the Bhashya. A person who knows sampradaya, Sarvashastra Vid, he may know all the Shastras. He is like a stupid fellow, Murkhavadev Upekshaniyaha. Ignore him. And then without a guru, who is come in the sampradaya, don't try to independently take a book and try to investigate into the divine reality. Shankara says in the Mundaka Upanishad, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurumeva Abhigachet Samitpani Srotriyam Brahmanishtam. Gurumeva Abhigachet. Eva, Shankara's commentary, Shastragyo api Swatantrena Brahma Anveshan Manakuryatiti eva iti avadharanam. Shastragnopi, you may know Shastras. Swatantrena Brahma Anveshanam Nakuryat. Don't independently try to investigate into the divine mystery without the guidance of a person who has come in that sampradaya. Every one of us is born in some sampradaya. stick to the sampradaya, and as much as possible to enrich your life through chanting of the glory of the divine name. Sometimes it becomes mechanical, that's another problem. If you repeat the same thing again and again and again, you become mechanical. How to avoid that? Have variety. Today is Tatra, or you sing bhajan. Where is variety? Just like every day if you take idli sambar, you feel bored, you have some other variety. The same idli you prepare in a different way. You sing bhajans, you chant the name of God, and then you come to the people. And another very interesting, with which I will stop, the Bhagavan gives a very interesting recipe in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, you don't have to do anything else. You do this. Come on, come here. Sir, what should I do? Those who are devoted to me, like-minded people, all of us, like-minded people who are interested in realizing God, in sadhakas, mamukshus, talk to each other about God. Just I am telling you, you are also telling me, and then you chant one stotra, I will chant another stotra. You point out something in some other scripture. I say something from the Bhagavatam, you say something from Bhagavad Gita. So constantly share notes. And by keeping God at the center of your discussion, constantly talking about Him, you become so happy. Are you happy with God? You feel so delighted with God. Oh, today we had a wonderful discussion on God. The moment you talk about God, you feel so delighted because He is our beloved, He is our dearest. If we think of God as dear, sometimes you ask, but we don't feel He is so dear, then what should I do? The answer given by Sharada Devi, the holy spouse of Ramakrishna, is, if you have chandan, sandalwood, smell doesn't come to you. Go on rubbing. If you go on rubbing, then smell comes out. Similarly, constantly repeating, practicing, group of people come together, like-minded people, those devoted to God. Then constantly discuss divine things, divine glories. What are we now discussing? We come together and discuss useless things. Why? Because Medha is not awakened. Tvaya jushta nutamana duruktaan bruhadvadema vidathe suviraha. Medha Suktam says, O Medha Devi, before you came to me, I was delighting in most useless things. Shayana says, Bhashya, Purushartha Anupayoginaha. It is not useful for any Purushartha. You discuss share market and money, that's also Purushartha. You discuss Kama, that's also Purushartha. Moksha, of course, but absolutely useless. This fellow did that fellow did that, go on criticizing everybody. But that's what we normally do. So much time and energy is wasted. So think of God, constantly talk about Him, then you delight. So much of joy comes to you. Gita 10.9, 10.10. 10th chapter, 9th verse. Madchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So look at this sentence. Tushyanti ramanti. Moodanai peide murangai vazhivara koodayirundu kumizhelorembavai. Andal says, when people come together and rejoice, at the end of it, good prasada is also given. In Hinduism, prasada is very vital. You may talk about God at the end, particularly Vaishnavas, Chakra Pongal, etc. So much of ghee is given. Andal says, so much is ghee, when you eat this, ghee will simply flow this way. Murangai vazhivara koodayirundu kumizhelor. Kumizhelor, that means rejoice. Just like a gang of people, drunkards, smokers, they will never smoke alone. You see? They will come together and they will rejoice and party. So why don't they have party in the name of God? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That's all that we have to do. Then what does God do? 10.10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenama papayanti te. Satata yuktana, see again the yukta comes to you. When they are connected to me, satata, priti purvakam, with great joy and affection and love. when they come to me, when they're united to me, I give them a special faculty called Buddhi Yoga. That's all you have to do, simply think of God, chant His glory, come together and rejoice. Are you happy with God? Do you delight in God? Just like we are delighting in seeing so many worldly things, worldly people, spiritual people will delight in spiritual things. Then God says, take this Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is the key which opens the divine mansion. Through that mansion, yena maam upayanti te. All of us now discussing divine things and we are so happy. Then there's an announcement. There's an announcement for all of you. Before you go at the gate, you take a small packet. Open it and say, it's called Buddhi Yoga. One key is given to you by which you can open the divine mansion. Things have become so simple when the avatara comes. Krishna, Rama, so many avatars come and go. They make religion so simple. Can you think of me? Can you meditate upon me? Can you sing my glory? Can you come together and chant my name? In my name, can you cook and eat? Even that is good. Because you are doing it in His name. Whatever you satata yukta, be connected to Him. He gives you Buddhi Yoga, through which the divine mansion can be opened. The Buddhi Yoga idea is extremely important in the Gita. In the Jnana language, tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam, tat prabodhanam, in the Panchadashi. In the Bhakti language, Madchitta, Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Kathayantascha Maham Nityam, Tushyanta Charamanticha, Tesham Satadayuktanam, Bhajatam, Priti Purvakam, Dadami Buddhi Yogam, Tam Yenama Payantite. The Lord says, I am giving you the Buddhi Yoga by which you can come to me. But somehow think of me. I will end with one great promise which Sri Ramakrishna gave to his disciples. He said, just think of the Lord, think of me, think of the Lord. Nothing else is required. Somehow think in what way? In whatever way. I am unable to meditate, my mind is not still. Chitta vritti nirodha. How can a vritti nirodha? Simply going away. Arjuna also asked the same question. When the avatara comes, he develops a new technique. You are not able to meditate? No. Mind is not still? No. Where is the mind going? Mind is running away. Don't worry, I will run with the mind. Oh, this is a new idea. You have something fixed and the mind is running away, you fix it. Chanchalam, Himana, Krishna, etc. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Atmasamtam manakritva kinchidapi chintaye teto yato nascharati manaschanchalamastheram tadastato niyamyeta atmanyeva vashamnaya. There is one way. Another way which the avatars come and develop is, your mind is moving away, mind is restless, mind is running away. I will also run with the mind. If God is static and your mind has to be put there, it is a terrible problem for us. The Lord says, wherever the mind goes, I will also go. Then what will you do? The mind has to be always in the God. This is called, in Bhakti Shastra, the Leela Chintana. Leela Chintana means, you think of God's Leelas. Read the Bhagavata, read the Mahapurana, read the lives of great saints. In the Bhagavatam, there is a discussion on what is the purpose of avatara. Swami Tapasan used to touch this verse so often. So many people said so many things. Kunti Devi says, the purpose of the avatara is to create infinite scenes for meditation. You think of Gopala Krishna, you think of Gopi Vallabha Krishna, you think of Mathuradisha Krishna, you think of Gitacharya Krishna. Think of him in so many ways. And your mind is constantly moving along with the Lord. Wherever you go, the Lord is also there. So the Leela Chintana, it is so sweet, not taxing. The mind need not be brought under control. The mind can go anywhere, but take the Lord with the mind. The Lord says, I will also constantly be with the mind. This is one special technique which the Lord has developed because of the technology of video. Earlier there was still picture. Now everywhere is a video. Wherever you go, the Lord is also going with you. So if the Lord is constantly with the mind and interpenetrating everything, elevating everything, giving you new inputs and giving you so much of joy, You simply get immersed in that joy in the Leela Chintana, and that itself will give you such a great elevation and joy, and this divine joy which will completely transform you. Some kind of joy everybody wants, sukha. But what? Brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. When the akshaya sukha, when the Brahman in the form of the Lord, in the form of Saguna Brahman, he comes and touches your heart and constantly moves with you. At every wave of your mind, the Lord is constantly there. Then your whole spirit is being so much immersed. Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. You are being bathed, irradiated by the divine presence and the joy of His thinking, and your whole life will be one of great blessedness and joy. Not only that, you will be a source of joy to others. A divine person always is full of joy. You take any picture of anybody, the great avatars and the saints, they are so full of joy, and their presence itself illuminates and gives joy to others. This is the glory of the divine name. May this divine name protect us, constantly inspire us, and may the Lord be with us inside and outside, so that we may achieve the end and aim of human life, which is a realization of God. The Bhagavad Gita does not talk about what is the final realization. Once again, Tapasan used to say, what is the final realization? The Bhagavan says, Vishate Dadanantaram, 18th chapter towards the end. Anantaram, thereafter, Tad, into that, Vishate, he enters. He enters into divine life. His whole life becomes divine, and his presence becomes a great blessing to humanity. Om Tat Sat.
Worshipful Gurudev Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj comments, constant remembrance of Lord's name is the easiest, surest, quickest and safest way to God realization. When allopathy, homeopathy, naturopathy, ayurvedopathy, chromopathy, all pathies will fail, divine namopathy will liberate from Bhavaroga. This is Gurudev's. We are extremely thankful and grateful to Pujya Swamiji Maharaj for his unforgettable, memorable and delicious satsang. We extend our supreme joy and deep gratitude to revered Swami Atmapriyanandji Maharaj, the illumined Saint Vice Chancellor, for his loving blessings and soul-stirring spiritual discourse on glory of divine name. Amader pranam grahan karben. Now our authorities will honor Pujya Swamiji Maharaj. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo.
Does not say Dadami. It's very significant. You know the story of the Goswami? It seems he said, Bhagavan can Vahami, why should he carry? So he changed it to Dadami or Vakhyami, and he went for baths. After some time, his wife saw two boys were coming. One was very fair, one was slightly Shamvarna. Then carrying so many things. Then who sent it? Your husband sent all this. But in the boy who was fair, the Shamvarna, the big cut in his forehead, and blood was coming out, oozing. So who struck you? Oh, your husband struck me like this. because he changed that word. Believe, Lord himself carries. These are not stories. So, Yogakshamam bhavami, dadami prapti yogam.
परम पूज्य स्वामी विवेकानंद जी महाराज की जय, श्री श्री ठाकुर रामकृष्ण परमहंस देव, माँ शारदा देवी की जय, श्री रामकृष्ण मिशन की जय।